Let me start with a number. I want it to sting a little, because that's the whole point. $430. That's what the fella 2 doors down from me handed a plumber this past spring. Started small. Kitchen sink draining slow. Then the washing machine gurgled. Then, one Sunday, he goes downstairs and the floor drain and the laundry tub are both standing full of gray water, and it smells like the inside of a garbage truck. By the time a crew ran a hydrojetter down his main line, $430 was gone. And here's the part that got me. 6 months later, it started backing up all over again. Now hear me on this. Every bit of that was preventable, not with some expensive gadget. I could have kept that whole mess from ever happening for about $2 a month, not 200. Two, one little habit, done once a month, that most folks have never even heard of. I've been in this trade a little over 30 years. Houses, apartments, restaurants, a nursing home for a stretch. I've pulled more clogs than I could count. And I learned one thing the drain cleaner companies would rather you didn't know. Almost every clog you'll ever get starts the same way, builds the same way, and can be stopped the same way, long before it turns into a backed-up sink and a $400 phone call. My Uncle Ray taught me this, 40-some years on a plumbing route, and he never once poured a bottle of that caustic drain cleaner down a pipe. Thought it was a con, and he was right. So here's the plan. I'm going to build you a system, layers of protection around every drain in the house, from the surface right down deep into the pipe where the real trouble hides. 8 numbered layers, then a bonus at the end that ties it all together. It's a drain you've almost certainly never treated, and it's the one that ambushes people worst. So don't wander off before we get there. A couple of these layers are free. One is the $2 habit itself, and number 5 is the mistake half of you are making right this minute, thinking it's the solution when it's the thing making it worse. Let's start at the surface and work our way down. Number 1 is the cheapest thing in this whole video, and it's the layer that stops the most trouble before it ever starts. Go look under your sinks and in your tubs. I'll bet you a cup of coffee that at least one drain in your house has nothing over it, just an open hole. And every day, down that hole goes hair, food, coffee grounds, little bits of everything. That's the raw material every clog is built from. Keep it out of the pipe, and it can never become a clog. Simple as that. So go get a basket strainer or a little screen for each drain. Kitchen, bathrooms, the tub, the shower. $2 to $5 a piece. The hair catchers for your tub and shower are the most important ones you'll buy, because hair is the skeleton a clog wraps itself around. I'll explain that when we get down deeper. Here's the habit part. You empty it. Every couple of days you lift it out, knock the gunk into the trash, not back down the drain, and set it back. 10 seconds. Between you and me, this one little screen has saved more drains than every bottle of chemical ever poured. It's the front door, and you just shut it on the stuff that clogs pipes. That's layer 1. It catches what it can see, but plenty of trouble slips right past it, smaller than any screen can catch. So let's add the next layer. Number 2 lives in the kitchen, and it's aimed at the one enemy a strainer can't catch: grease. Now you already know not to pour a pan of bacon fat down the sink, but here's what nobody tells you. It isn't the big, obvious grease that gets you. It's the invisible stuff. Every time you rinse a plate or a greasy pan, a little film of warm fat goes down that drain. A few feet down the pipe, it cools off. And what does grease do when it cools? It goes solid. It clings to the wall of your pipe like candle wax. Thin at first, you'd never know, but it builds week after week and grabs every crumb that floats by. That's your clog starting, slow and quiet, where you can't see it. So here's the free habit. Once a week, squirt a little dish soap down the drain, then run the hot tap a good minute. The soap cuts the grease, the hot water carries it on out past the trap before it can cool and set. A minute of your time, once a week. That's it. And ask me how I know it works. Every restaurant kitchen I worked around, The smart ones flush their lines this way every night. They can't afford a shutdown. You've got the same pipes they do, just smaller. Treat them the same way. That's layer 2. Keep the grease moving so it never sets on the wall. Now, the strainer catches the big stuff and the flush keeps grease moving, but a film still builds down there over time. Soap scum, the last of the grease. The slime hair sticks too. No strainer stops it, and no hot water fully clears it. For that, you need something that goes down there and eats it. That's the $2 habit. That's number 3. All right, this is the heart of it. This is the $2 habit the whole video is named for, and it's the layer that does the real work down where you can't reach. Here's what you buy. A bioenzymatic drain treatment. On the label, it'll say enzyme, or bacteria, or live bacteria cultures. A good tub runs $15 to $25, and that tub lasts the better part of a year treating every drain in the house. Do the math, and you're looking at about $1, maybe $2 per drain per month. That's where the $2 comes from. It's real. Now here's how you do it right, because doing it right is what makes or breaks it. You do this at night, right before bed. Run a little warm water down the drain first, just to wet the pipe. Then measure your dose, whatever the tub says, and pour it right in. Every drain, kitchen, bathrooms, tub, shower, the laundry tub, all of them. Here's a pro touch most people miss. Your bathroom sink and your tub have a little overflow hole near the top. That hole is connected to the same drain, and it grows its own black slime you never see. Pour a little of your treatment through that hole too. Then walk away and go to bed. And this is the important part. So listen close. After you pour it, nobody runs any water down that drain for several hours. That's why we do it at night. The stuff needs to sit still in the pipe and go to work while you sleep. Somebody gets up and runs the faucet an hour later. You've rinsed it all down the line before it could do a thing. Do that once a month. Mark it on the calendar, first of the month. Whatever you'll remember. That's the whole habit. $1 or $2, 10 minutes, once a month, right before bed. Now you might be wondering what that stuff is actually doing down there in the dark, because if you don't understand that, you won't trust it, and you'll go right back to the harsh bottle the second the sink slows down. So let me pull the pipe apart and show you. But first, real quick, if that $2 habit was worth knowing, do me one small favor and subscribe to the Vintage Pipefitter. That's the whole ask. Every week I put out another real repair like this, the kind that keeps your money in your pocket instead of a plumber's. It's free, it's one tap, and it means the next fix shows up when you need it. Back to work now. Number 4 is the why, and I promise you almost nobody explains this part, which is exactly why folks don't believe it works. Here's what's really going on inside your pipe. Everything that clogs a drain, all of it, is organic. Grease, food, soap scum, and the slime, the biofilm, that hair gets tangled up in. It's all just organic gunk coating the inside wall of your pipe like the crud in an old coffee pot. A bioenzymatic treatment is millions of tiny bacteria and the enzymes they make. Pour them in, let them sit, and they don't just float on by. They move into the pipe. They set up shop right there on the wall, in the gunk, and they start eating it. They digest all of it as food, grease, and soap scum, and biofilm alike. They eat the coating right off the wall of your pipe. And because you're feeding them a fresh batch every month, they keep at it. They keep that pipe wall scrubbed clean from the inside, so the gunk never gets a chance to pile up. And here's the key I really want you to get. A clog doesn't happen all at once. It builds. A little layer, then a little more, narrowing that pipe like plaque in an artery, until one day something floats by, there's no room left, and it stops. The enzymes eat that layer away before it can ever build up to a blockage. There's never a clog, because there's never any buildup for a clog to form from. That's the whole game right there. You're not clearing a clog. You're making sure one never forms in the first place. And that is the difference between doing this and doing what most of the country does. Which brings me to number 5, the one I've been promising, the mistake you might be making this very minute. Number 5, if there's a bottle of that thick, caustic drain cleaner under your sink right now, hear me out, because that bottle is not your friend. And my Uncle Ray called this 40 years ago. Here's what that harsh chemical does when you pour it in. It reacts, and it gets hot, right there inside your pipe. Now, think about that. If you've got older pipes, and a lot of us do, that heat and that harsh chemical eat at them. It wrecks the rubber seals and washers in your traps and fittings. I have gone into houses, found a leak under the sink, and traced it right back to somebody pouring that stuff month after month till it ate a seal clean through. Ask me how I know. I've replaced those parts. But here's the bigger problem, the one that keeps you buying bottles. When you pour that chemical on a clog, all it does is burn a narrow channel straight through the middle so the water drains again. It does not clean the wall of your pipe. All that gunk that caused the clog is still there, coating the pipe right where it was. So the pipe's still narrowed, the buildup's still building, and in a few weeks, it clogs again, in the same spot. So what do? You go buy another bottle, $5, $10 a pop, again and again. You see the trap you're in? The chemical reacts to the clog you have. It never touches the reason you keep getting them. The enzymes are the opposite. They prevent the next one. One of them keeps you buying bottles till the day you die. The other, you do it once a month and forget your drains even exist. That's why Ray thought the bottle was a con. And one hard rule while we're here: never mix that chemical stuff with your enzyme, with bleach, or with anything else. Mixing drain chemicals can put off fumes that'll hurt you. Pick the enzyme and let the bottle go. Number 6 is the one most people never even think to check, and it's the reason some folks try the enzyme once, do it wrong, and swear it doesn't work. It works. You've just got to respect a few simple rules. Rule 1, and we touched it, but it's worth saying twice. It needs time to sit. Several hours, no water running. That's why it goes in overnight. Rush it, and you wash it away. Rule 2, and this is a big one. Enzymes are for prevention, not rescue. If you've already got a drain that's fully blocked, standing water in the sink, don't just pour enzyme in there and wait. It can't get down through that standing water to reach the clog in time. Clear that blockage first, get the water moving again, and then start your monthly habit so it never comes back. Enzymes keep a working drain working. They don't raise the dead. Rule 3. Use hot water, not boiling water, especially on your traps. A lot of the pipe under your sink these days is PVC. That white plastic, and boiling water can soften it and warp a joint over time. Hot from the tap is plenty. Leave the boiling water for your pasta. And Rule 4, the one I already gave you. Never mix it with bleach or chemical cleaners. Keep it simple. Enzyme, warm water, and time. That's all it needs. Follow those 4 rules, and this works like a charm. Skip them, and you'll be one of those folks leaving a comment saying it did nothing. Now, you might be thinking, all right, but is a couple dollars a month really saving me that much? Let me put the actual numbers right in front of you. Number 7 is the layer that matters to your wallet. So, let me lay the numbers side by side. Your habit, $1, maybe $2 a month. Call it $20 a year to keep every drain in the house clean. That's the whole cost. Now here's what it's standing between you and. The day a drain clogs up bad enough that you can't clear it yourself, you call a plumber out to snake it, run a router down the line. That's $150 to $300, and that's if it's a simple one. Let that grease keep building and harden up in the line, and now snaking won't cut it. Now you need hydrojetting, high-pressure water to blast the pipe clean, and that's $300 to $600 a visit. That's the $430 bill I told you about at the top. A jetting job that never needed to happen. And that's before the slow bleed of chemical bottles, $5 or $10 each, that never fix the real problem. So you buy them year after year. So look at it plain. $20 a year on one side. On the other, a router call, a jetting bill, and a lifetime of bottles. I've watched folks spend more fighting their drains in one bad weekend than the habit costs in 10 years. Between you and me, this is the best money you'll ever not spend. A few dollars and a few minutes, and you skip the truck in the driveway entirely. Number 8, and I put this one in on purpose, because I'm not here to sell you a miracle. Part of the truth is knowing what this habit can't do. Everything I've told you today handles the clogs that start inside your house, in your fixture drains, from organic buildup, grease, food, hair, soap, that whole family of trouble. For that, the enzyme habit is the answer. Full stop. It prevents it. But there's one kind of clog it will never touch, and you need to know the difference. If your main sewer line, the big pipe that carries everything out to the street, gets invaded by tree roots, that's a whole different animal. Roots find a tiny crack in the pipe underground and grow right in, and they'll choke that line solid. No enzyme on Earth eats a tree root. That's a structural problem, not a gunk problem. And it takes a professional with a powered auger, sometimes a camera down the line, to clear it. If you're getting backups in several drains at once, or gurgling toilets, or sewage coming up low in the house, that's your main line talking. And that's the one time I'll tell you straight, call the pro. Don't fight that one yourself. So that's the honest scope of it. This habit is a shield against the everyday clogs that start in your pipes. It is not a cure for a cracked or root-filled main line. Know which one you've got, and you'll always know whether it's a $2 fix or a phone call. All right, that's your 8 layers. But I told you I had one more, and this is the one I really want you to walk away with. It's a drain you've almost certainly never treated, and it's the one that surprises folks the worst. Here's the bonus. The forgotten drain. Every house has them. The drains nobody uses. The floor drain in the basement or the garage. The sink in the guest bath nobody's touched since the holidays. The utility tub that only runs now and then. And there's 2 problems in one down there. First, the same buildup happens whether you use the drain or not. And because you never run water through it, nothing ever disturbs it. It just sits and grows. But here's the part that really gets people. Down inside, every drain, there's a U-shaped bend called a trap, and it holds a little pool of water that blocks sewer gas from coming up into your house. On a drain you never use, that water slowly dries up and evaporates away. And once it's gone, there's nothing stopping the smell. That's why a basement or a guest bath sometimes has that faint sewer odor nobody can explain. The trap went dry. So here's what you do, and it's easy. Once a month or so, walk around to those forgotten drains and pour a little water down each one to refill that trap and keep the seal. And while you're at it, tip a little of your enzyme treatment in there too, so the gunk down in that one gets eaten just like all the others. 2 minutes, the whole loop of the house. You seal out the smell, and you keep every single drain protected, even the ones you forget you own. And that's the system. A screen on top, a hot flush to keep the grease moving, the $2 enzyme habit doing the deep work every month, the harsh chemicals left on the shelf where they belong, and even the forgotten drains sealed and clean. Do that, and I promise you, you will forget your drains even exist, which is exactly how it should be. Thanks for staying to the end. That's 30 years on the job boiled down to a $2 habit, and I'd rather you have it than any plumber's number. If it helped, subscribe to The Vintage Pipefitter. Every week I walk through another real repair, the sort of money-saving know-how that takes years to learn. So the next thing that breaks, you'll handle it yourself.